And so nothing is as it is imagined. We can only come to see things as they truly are when we come to the silence, the stillness that just is. Just to be here, to feel the simplicity of your presence right here. Relish the stillness. Fall into the silence that is unmoving and unchanging. The sense of individuality merges into reality. The mind merges with its source, and the discovery of what the I truly is discovered right here in the being. That I is not the person. I am the simple being. It brings us to the opening where we are before the first thought, where I identifies with body and mind and believes itself to be a person. When the mind, when the sense of I merges back into the source from where it has arisen, the remembering that who I am is not the mind, is not the body, is not limited in any way. That who I am is the vast, infinite, timeless ocean of grace. Who I am is whole and pure, immaculate being. Who I am is who I have always been. The remembering that no one has ever left. The wholeness of the one heart. That every being has ever been the divine being. Every being has ever belonged to divine wholeness. And it is in the stillness, in the silence, in the simplicity of being that remembering is lurking. So much to fill the space with, so much to be distracted by. And the mind, of course, will never believe that it is only when we let go of distraction and we come to the vast openness that is empty of content, we discover that what is here in the vast open space, underneath the content that so ably distracts the attention, underneath that is this vast open field of love, of oneness, of clear, immaculate, pure being. Here, the love that you have always been. Here, the truth that just is. Here, the peace that has never been disturbed. The mind wants a way. It wants to know how, because the mind just wants. But what you are in truth, it's not something that you are getting or attaining. How can you possibly get what you already are? The mind wants, it wants something new, it wants something more, it wants to be awakened, enlightened. But that is the impossibility. It is only to discover what you already are underneath the mind's wantings, to discover what you have always been, who you are in the emptiness of content, just the simple presence of being that you have always been. There is grace in that it seems so hard and impossible to get this. If it is everyone's birthright, says mind, then why can I not have it now? Because what you are is not the mind, and you are not who you believe yourself to be. You are not the story. You are not the drama. You are not what you assume. And nothing here is as you imagine it. When we speak of this as not being real, maybe the real and the unreal, the real being reality and the unreal being the illusion, of course, all of it belongs to wholeness, of course. But if you are with a narrow vision and imagining that the play of the world is reality, you are only tasting the smallest drop of the infinite vast ocean of bliss. And in that vision, in that limited perspective, there is no way of living the fullness, living the freedom, because there is, by the nature of belief and concept and idea, acting as a veil, it is hiding the vast, unlimited reality. The birthright of all beings is to know the unlimited reality, is to be freed from the fog of illusion, to be free from karmic obscuration. We are given a choice in every situation to either repeat the karma or complete the karma. What we speak of here offers the grace of a how-to complete karma. Imagine that. The grace of a how-to, and yet still not good enough for the mind, of course, because the mind wants to have its cake and eat it too. Completing the karma instead of repeating it requires a resting in the being and not continuing to indulge in the illusion, right? Continuing to indulge in the illusion is to keep cycling in the misery, the cycle of attachment and aversion. And of course, that cycle of suffering is here for us to ask the deeper questions so that we can find the truth that is not limited by the cycle of karma. Everything is a divine setup. Everything is divine perfection, and you are that divine perfection. It is to assume you know nothing, Assume you have achieved nothing. Assume you have made no progress on your spiritual path. Assume that the knowledge that you think you have means nothing. Let go of assumptions so entirely that you are here, undressed of ideas, undressed of assumptions, imaginings, undressed of the belief in the ideas and concepts and the me that thinks it is right, undressed completely of all of the worldly garbage that we decorate ourselves with like tinsel on a Christmas tree. Assume you know nothing. We could even say, assume you are nothing, and you will be closer to the truth already. Ego says, oh my goodness, how could I possibly think so little of myself? Do I really have no self-esteem? Let go of all of it. Be nothing, be no one, and find yourself here in the emptiness, when all of the story of me and all that we hold as important to the me is seen through. What remains is what is true. What cannot be lost is what is true. What we are longing for is to know this, that we are underneath the content and the drama of worldly life. We are so deeply longing, thirsting, hungering to know the ultimate truth. And that truth is here. That truth is who you are. You already are. Perhaps your only assumption can be, your only belief can be, in that these words are telling you that you already are. You already are. And if you feel the resonance of truth in that, then take it as truth and let go of looking for something that you are not. Just to let go of all of the energy that goes into seeking, and hold a resonant recognition that you already are. What are you already? Allow your contemplation to be, to discover what you are already. What are you that is already free? What are you that never moves and changes? What are you that is simple and pure and immaculate and has never ever changed in any way? The discovery is right here in the felt sense of being. To feel the sense of I and recognize that I is not attached to a story. The felt sense of I is utterly independent of story and utterly independent of body. That the felt sense of I, when there is a dwelling upon the felt sense of who you are, being body and mind, starts to expand. Be here now. Be here now and know that it is important to be focused and to let go of everything else that is around you. If you are focusing upon other things, your life will be full of things. Be in this moment as if this is your last moment to know yourself. Be in every moment as if this is the last moment. What will you spend your last moment in connection with? Worldly things? Will you spend your last moment checking your phone? Will you spend your last moment wondering about what you're going to have for dinner? Will you spend your last moment of possibility in distraction? How important is this to you? How strong is the longing in your heart? Because it is dependent upon how strong is the pull, how pure is the devotion, how clear are you, how one-pointed are you. It requires for every single fiber of your being to be completely aligned, to fit through the eye of the needle of remembering. Not a single thread can be outside of that. One-pointedness means pointed in one direction, not dispersed, not fragmented, not distracted with the play of the world. One-pointed is to direct absolutely all of the attention to the felt sense of being. Every being can be free here now if this is the true longing, because it is right here. And yet the habit is to distract. The habit is to disperse. A little more focus coming in. To meet every moment as if this is the only moment. To meet every moment as if the hand that is outstretched before you is the hand of divine wholeness, inviting you into remembering, because that is the truth. Every moment is the opportunity to be yourself, to fall deeper into yourself. Every moment, you already are. Every moment, the stillness is calling. In the stillness, there is a merging of the sense of individuality with the vast ocean of pure consciousness, your own consciousness, the truth of who you are. In every moment, it is to say yes to God and no to the illusion. If the focus is with the illusion, then the illusion is where you will live. It is between you and God, let's say. It matters not in any other way. But if the longing is for freedom, then say yes to freedom in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. Everything that is longed for is right here. The fullness of love without condition, happiness and joy that is causeless. This is reality. Reality is not the play of cause and effect. Reality is free of cause and effect. And reality is right here now. It is the simple truth of who you are when you are resting here in the being. The mind imagines that it is an experience that comes and goes. The mind imagines that it's to come to the being and then come back to the mind and get on with life. But this is not freedom. It is to come to the being and be an offering. This is how we come to freedom, to come to the being and rest here. Rest here in the stillness. Come to the felt sense of merging all sense of mind and body into the stillness. When you feel the sense of what you are expanded and open, when you start to feel the wellspring of happiness bubbling up inside you, it is to stay here, to remain here, to be the openness, to feel the sense of timeless being that has always been just like this. We so imagine that fulfillment is in the world, and we are constantly looking for another hit, another way. We could say that maturing, ripening into readiness to know yourself, the self that you already are, is a recognition that brings you to one-pointedness. It is the recognition that what is being sought is not in the things of the world. Of course, we come to a depth of recognition that so too includes everything, but we have to first be freed of our attachment to distraction, our attachment to enjoyment, our attachment to pleasure, even our attachment to pain and suffering. Right? We have to come to a place of being freed from everything that we think we are, discovering what we truly are, and then we discover how everything is part of the divine wholeness. Every glimpse, every taste brings us closer. It is to keep coming to the presence of being, and the depth of our longing, the depth, we could say, of our one-pointedness, how focused we are, how clear we are about what we are longing for, is what propels us into the being. When we are dispersed, we are not actually glimpsing the being, we are just creating another experience that the mind starts to imagine is something. But it's only when the mind stops that we find true fulfillment. Only when the mind stops. The mind stops when it merges into the silence. How do we merge the mind into the silence? We look for the source of the mind. Where does mind arise from? Where do thoughts arise from? It is to recognize that underneath everything that is moving and changing, there is a stillness, a silence that just is. When there is a recognition of the stillness, of the felt sense of being, feel the vastness. Feel that the felt sense of being is at no particular point, that the felt sense of being is without bound, without edges, without limit, without any sense of containment. Here you are, vast and free and clear and whole. There is nothing holding you away from yourself except the next thought. Every thought that is followed pulls you away from yourself. But this recognition, it is not a doing which is about holding yourself here. It is not a doing. It's that when you are here, you recognize what you are in truth. You recognize the being, right? It's not a practice. It's not a practice that then becomes like, this is my life practice, then I just have to keep holding this. You keep coming to this truth and offering yourself again and again. You keep coming to the felt sense of being. And every time you confirm it in the heart, that what you are is the being, not the person. What you are is the silence, not the someone. Every time you confirm it in the knowing of the heart, you deepen into the remembering. And at some point, there is a moment where the perspective completely shifts. And then it's done. Of course, there's still a deepening. But once that shift of perspective happens, the knowing is here. The knowing is here. It is a shift from consciousness being trapped in believing in the mind body as who I am, from the consciousness itself recognizing itself and realizing its natural freedom. So we could say that consciousness shifts from being person-centered to being cosmic, universal. And the felt sense of knowing who you are is that you are the vast, open, infinite being. And this is here right now. It is just to remember the being that you are. And in that, recognize that you are not the person that the mind believes that it is. That you are the presence, not the person. The felt sense of presence, the felt sense of being, the felt sense of I am, whatever it is that resonates, just to be here, the stillness, the silence. Be aware of the mind and the thoughts that are constantly changing. Be aware of that changing landscape and confirm that as the awareness, you are not changing. Be aware of body, even the felt sense of being in body. Be aware of that and recognize as the felt sense of presence, as the being, that the felt sense is everywhere. It's not inside the body. That what you are is independent of the body. Can feel to be in the body, but you are bigger than the body, right? It's to notice that the felt sense of what you are is not limited inside the body to the flesh and the bones. That the felt sense of what you are as the being is so much vaster than mind and body. That the felt sense of being, it is simply aware of mind and body, and yet not attached or identified with mind or body. Confirm in your heart that this is what you are, where you can feel this truth. The yes of the innermost being confirms it. And in the confirmation of the innermost being, there is a deeper sense of relaxation and even more spaciousness. We could say this is the deepest relaxation, and it asks us to relax and relax and relax, to relax out of the mind, to let this moment just be here as it is, to not create any kind of mood about this moment. Thoughts can be here, everything can be here just as it is. Just to allow this moment to be exactly as it is. The relaxation, the complete relaxation that surrenders control completely, surrenders control completely. And in the surrender of control, there is a relaxation of mind and attention. And in the relaxation of attention, a natural discovery of the openness, a natural discovery of the openness, a natural discovery that the felt sense of what you are is not identified with the mind or the body, that the felt sense of what you are is free of mind and body, is not affected or touched in any way by what is happening on the surface of life. The thoughts do not affect you as the being. Whatever is happening in the body does not affect you as the being. And you relax even more deeply into the being, can be aware of mind, can be aware of thoughts, aware of body, but the felt sense of what you are can start to feel that it is so much vaster. There's so much space here, that the felt sense of where you are, what you are, you cannot find a location, you cannot find an answer, and yet there is a knowing that you are here. And this knowing is such a familiar felt sense of being. It's so familiar, it's so natural, it's such a relaxation. It feels so good because it is the goodness that you are. There is this relaxation into the stillness. Feel the resonance as these words come and feel the stillness. Feel that the stillness, the silence of being is alive in the recognition of itself. That there is a knowing here, a knowing recognition that is like an even deeper relaxation. Oh yes, this. It's not to look for answers. It's not to look for explanations. It's just to be yourself. Just to be yourself. If you look for any kind of way of qualifying this with the mind, you will move away from yourself. It is immediate freedom, spontaneous freedom. You just are right here now, the vast open spaciousness of being, the deepest relaxation into yourself. Here the freedom, here the simple peace of being. Here you are yourself, just as you have always been. A familiarity, a joy, a gorgeousness to feel yourself here. Fresh, there's a freshness here, an aliveness here. It is the aliveness of life, unencumbered and unburdened of story, of drama. Here, the recognition of the being itself remembers, this is what I am, right? It's not the person that remembers. It's an innermost sense of being yourself. It's discovering what you have always been, discovering this spark of absolute divine freedom inside you, inside your own presence, that the one-pointedness points so focused to this truth, to this being, that it starts to bring forward the felt sense of the vastness, of the infinite reality, because the individual sense of consciousness merges with the vast ocean. And as the individual sense merges with the vast ocean, you are taken. No more individuality, no more wishing, no more longing. You are merged with what you have been longing for. And here, the sense of fulfillment. Here, the sense of belonging. Here, the sense of being. There's no one here that belongs. There's no one here that's having an experience. There's just the direct knowing that this is what you are. You are so vast and free and clear and still. You are yourself without a person. You are yourself just as you have always been. You are yourself, and as yourself, you are without conditions, without boundaries and edges. You are yourself. You are still and silent and yet wildly alive in the knowing of yourself. You are life without condition. You are utter freedom, and you can feel the freshness of this moment. You are openness, ever open, ever free, and you can feel the beauty of yourself, free and clear and whole, just as you have always been. And hear the love, hear the love, hear the love. The love is the felt sense of yourself merged into reality, the sense of yourself without separation, the sense of yourself one with divine grace, the sense of yourself centered in yourself, grounded in the being, the sense of yourself just here, just as you have always been, with no story, no name, no form, just as you are. And yet, too, everything that's here is included in this full and beautiful moment. But the felt sense of what you are is expanded. It is free. It is merged into the one vast open field. So you can feel the sense of your uniqueness, your unique laws of nature, and yet the uniqueness is absolutely one with reality. the sense of what is your consciousness, is absolutely one with the whole field of consciousness. What you are is merged, melted, dissolved into the ocean. So it's not to try to imagine with the mind, because what can happen here in this sense of being merged is the mind says, oh, but I'm still the same. Yes, you're still the same. The knowing is in consciousness. It's not in the mind, right? So the knowing of consciousness feels the oneness. It feels the sense of knowing what is true here. And the felt sense of yourself is not anything to do with the mind or the body or the story. You're aware of the mind, the body, and the story. And yet story is likely more relaxed right now in this moment. But here you are. It's the consciousness itself that remembers, the presence itself that knows its own presence, wakes up to reality, recognizing that it is awake to reality, and that what awakeness is consciousness awake to its own unbounded consciousness. That consciousness wakes up to recognize that it is not identified with the mind body, right? The I am presence recognizes that it is not identified with I am this character, right? So before the first thought that identifies I am the name and the story, the sense of the I is felt to be before the first thought, before everything, before all of the content. And when you feel yourself before everything, you're aware of everything. It's as if you've backed up. You've gone so far back that you're aware of everything. And now what are you? Be now aware of yourself. Being aware of yourself is being aware that you just are. Being aware of yourself is not the finding of another object. Being aware of yourself is not the seeing of something out there. Oh yes, that is what I am as the being. The felt sense of being yourself is different. It turns you inside out. And as you turn inside out, the felt sense is of being the right way up. You turn inside out, and yet suddenly you're the right way up. Oh, this is what I am. The being itself recognizes, right? You're so far as you're zoomed right out, can see the whole play, see the character, see the person that you thought you were, can see that one, see the thoughts coming and going, see the body, but recognize right now you're so far zoomed out. You're not inside that body. You're not inside that mind. You're not that story. You're not who you thought you were. You know right now, it's so clear in your direct experience that what you are is aware of that. You can see the environment. You can see the whole play, can see all the players, can see the stage of the world, can see it all. And yet you're not touched by any of it. You're so vast. It's like you're zooming out and zooming out. As soon as you're aware of something, you zoom out more. Now be aware of yourself. What are you that's aware? What are you that's aware? It's like the eyes trying to look back to see themselves. They can't. And yet there's a knowing that seeing is happening. You are the seer. of it all. You cannot see yourself, and yet there's a knowing of what you are. You cannot look back and see yourself. You can just know that you are. So far zoomed out, you're not really interested in watching the moving, changing anymore, because knowing yourself is far more interesting. So what are you, right? We've come through the witness that's witnessing the moving, changing, and you're so zoomed out, you're backed. You can't go any further back. There's nothing behind you. You're aware of everything in front of you, but you're not really interested in the content anymore because you're so relaxed as you're zoomed out. And now the only thing to discover is, what are you? What are you as you're so zoomed out and you're aware of everything? You're not touched by anything. Feel that as the being. You're just being here. You're aware, you're naturally aware. Being aware is not a doing. There's no one that's being aware. You're aware of that one, and they're over there sitting on the chair in satsang, right? You're not that one, but you're here. True satsang, right? We're in union. We're in the oneness. We're merged. All of our sense of individuality, we've merged into divine reality. And we're meeting here in the vast open heart. We are the one being. And what is speaking and what is listening here is exactly the same. You can feel it in the heart of being. This is you speaking to yourself. This is you speaking to yourself. How profound. What is speaking and what is listening is the same. The meeting of all individuality is merged into the vast open field of divine reality. And hear the freedom, hear the glory, hear the knowing in the being. Nothing to understand with the mind. You can see that one. They're sitting in that room in satsang. And here you are, smiling. You know what true satsang is? Satsang is this. It is the companionship in the one heart, in the oneness, in the vastness. The divine smile is the wide open heart that knows itself, knows its own purity, knows that there are no edges here, that what you are is the freedom. You are the consciousness that is without bounds. You know yourself as the consciousness that is everywhere and yet is nowhere. You can feel yourself here, and yet where are you? You know you are here, but you do not know where you are. You are everywhere. You are the vast, open, infinite field, and you know yourself at every point of infinity simultaneously. You are remembering yourself. You're awake to yourself. You are the awake field, and you are awake to yourself as you have always been, awake and alert in the knowing of yourself. Nothing to do with the story, nothing to do with that. And yet here you are. It's so profound to be merged in reality, right? Now you know the secret. You know the secret of saying yes to yourself. You know the secret of what it looks like on the surface, appearing as a person, and yet merged into divine reality, merged into the ocean of bliss, merged into the bliss of being yourself, being utterly one with oneness. And so there's no one thinking about oneness. There's just oneness. There's just the merged knowing of what you are in truth. You can feel it in the felt sense of being, that you are everywhere. You're not in the body, you're not in the mind, you're not in any way connected or identified or bound by the me, the mind, the story. You're utterly free of that. Can feel your timelessness, your utter, vast, open freedom. You are everywhere and nowhere. You are no one. You are not the someone you thought yourself to be. You are blissful emptiness that is vast and open and free. There is no doer, no chooser, no enjoyer. You are just here as you are. Nothing is personal. You can see the play of the world and how the one that is the character takes it all so personally. And yet you can feel that you are not that one. You are not bound by the story, by the thoughts. And here you can face yourself fully. Here you can love yourself fully. You can love that character. You can love all that is, because you are not bound by any of it. You are utterly free, being yourself. You are the vast, open, immaculate field of being. You are innocence. You are pure. You are goodness. As the words come, to feel the resonance where the knowing is. Feel the brilliance, the shining luminosity as the light of divine remembering is illuminated. Right? It's always been here. It's always been here, but now it's shining bright in the divine remembering. The heart is radiant and illuminated in the knowing of itself. The self is shining in and of itself. And here pure knowledge, true knowledge, pure true knowledge is the self knowing itself, simply being yourself. And it is to come to this knowing so that from this knowing we can flow in the awakeness of the infinite field and discover that everything is the same oneness. Everything is included here, right? This oneness is God, is Ma, is the glory. This oneness is Brahman. We could say the oneness is Atman, and then the Atman knows too that it is Brahman. So let us start with Atman. The oneness is Atman, right? Atman is Brahman. Words don't matter, but if there is a resonance of a word, let it sing in your heart as the glory of what is true. If there is a resonance of truth, let it sing. Let it sing and receive its song as the confirmation of the heart that is the knowing, and drink the divine nectar that is the bliss of being. Drink the nectar. It is the nectar where you are intoxicated in the knowing of yourself. And as you are intoxicated in the knowing of yourself, so flows here the essence of immortality, the Amrit is flowing here, the essence of immortality. You know your timeless nature, you know your timeless, immortal nature. Here, freedom from birth and death. Here, freedom from the cycles of karma. Here, freedom from the story. Here you are yourself and nothing but yourself. Everything is included. but come to confirm the grace in the heart of your knowing first. Drink in the nectar of your own knowing, knowing that this is who you are, that you are not the person that you thought yourself to be, that you discover here that this is who you have always been. You already are, you always have been, you have never left. And hear the confirmation in the beauty of your own heart, recognizing its own infinite nature. The heart that has felt to be personal recognizes that it is infinite and vast. And hear the vastness of true love, love with no conditions, love that knows only love and only loves. Love just loves, and love just loves you exactly as you are. Drink the nectar, hear the offering, hear the secret revealed. It is to merge in the being, in the stillness, to merge into yourself, merge back into who you have always been. Keep zooming out. Keep zooming out until you remember the divine perspective. Keep zooming out, aware of everything, and everything that you are aware of, you are not. The most important parts are being aware of the mind, aware of that thought, aware of that idea, aware of that belief, aware of that assumption, aware of that story. Everything you are aware of, you are not. It starts to zoom you out. You zoom out and out and out until you're aware of the whole world. You're aware of the whole world and it's taking place in you. You're the vast open space. You're so far zoomed out. You can see the world, the whole world story. You can see the whole collective. It's taking place in you. And when you get to the point where you cannot zoom out anymore, you are witnessing it all. You know that it's in you. Find out, then who are you? What are you? What are you that is so vast? What are you that is so free? What are you that is simply aware with no effort, no doing? What are you in truth that is simply aware? What are you that is the vast open space in which the whole of the world is happening? The whole world stage is in you. What are you that is so vast, so wide, so tall, so gyroscopically infinite? What are you? Will you deny yourself for another moment? Will you deny the glory of what you are for another nanosecond? Or will you be yourself? Will you collapse the pattern of denial, collapse the pattern of separation, and fall into the fullness of remembering? Will you confirm in the glory of your own heart who you are? Will you stare yourself in the eye and know what I truly is? Right now, the invitation to let go into yourself, into the glory, to be yourself so fully, to receive the grace of merging, the grace that you are not the appearance. Merge all the way back into yourself. Zoom out and out and out until there is no further place that you can go to. You cannot go any further back, right? You're not, but oh goodness, you're not in a corner. You're not in a corner. You've just zoomed yourself out of experience. You've zoomed out off the world stage. You've fallen off the edge of experience. And now you realize who you are in truth. Now you realize your own vastness, your wideness, your beauty, your grace. You realize that who you are is not that is seemingly in front of you in your view. When you cannot get any further back, look and find out, who are you? Who are you in truth? That which is witnessing, let's go into, let's say, witnessing itself, being that which is aware, let's go into being aware of itself. And then the wide opening, the vastness, the felt sense of what you are, having truly no boundaries, no edges, the felt sense of what you are, utterly free. We could say utterly relaxed, simple. Do not be looking for an experience. It's closer than that. It's closer than experience. It's closer than your breath. It's closer than anything. It's what you already are. Remember? Let the divine smile of your wide open infinite heart fill your earthly cheeks. Let go of the story. Let go of the person and be yourself. Fall into the recognition that everything that has been longed for is right here. Feel the grace, feel the glory, feel the beauty of who you are in truth. The shift in perspective is seeing from the vastness, is seeing from the infinite. The seeing, it's not seeing from the me having an experience. It's the consciousness seeing itself. And it's like a shimmering, glimmering everywhere. It's seeing itself. It's alive and awake to itself. If the mind is trying to pull the attention, just be aware of mind and know that it does not even matter. We're not trying to stop the mind. We're not creating moods. We're not doing anything. We're coming to the felt sense of being and just being here, so relaxed, so open, where the attention is not focusing upon the content, where the attention is focusing upon just simply being. Everything opens, and now we are here in the vast open landscape of consciousness, your consciousness, the one consciousness that is pure. And here, there is a saying yes to everything. Everything is allowed. Everything is accepted. There's no dividing here. There's no fragmenting. There's no dispersing your energies into all kinds of ideas. There's a focus here, and the focus is in the knowing. You do not need to go towards the world. Life is just living itself. And here the saying yes is life saying yes to itself. Life says yes and yes and yes. And here you face all of yourself. Here you say yes to all of yourself. And whatever comes up in the divine play, there is a receiving of it here into the vastness. It's receiving all of yourself here into the glory. To face yourself, to meet all of yourself, is to allow all of what you believed yourself to be to come home into the being, to welcome all of those moths to come towards the light. But you have to keep holding the knowing of the light, right? You have to be the light. Otherwise, as all the moths start to fly, they'll get trapped, right? And when moths get trapped, they start to eat where they're trapped, right? Right? And then a feeling of contraction. So rest as the light, and let the moths of all of your beliefs and concepts. You don't have to go out there into the personhood and the mind and work it all out. You just rest as the light. You rest as the ever illuminated light of being, and everything naturally comes home. Everything comes home into the light of wholeness, right? This deep saying yes, when you are resting in the being, it allows everything that is welcomed to integrate, to refine into the being, to find its true nature. Everything is longing to come home to this true nature. So in the recognition of true nature, the open, wide open heart of being, ever illuminated in the knowing of itself, it welcomes everything to just be as it is. It's not trying to control. It's not holding positions. It just is, and you just are. And where you can feel the resonance of this truth, where you can feel the resonant aliveness of the awake field that you are, confirm it. Confirm it, not by looking for an experience with the mind, but confirm it just in the aliveness, where there's a felt sense of knowing the being. This is the truth. This is the being. This is what you are. That you are vaster, wider, fuller than you ever imagined. Do not create mental ideas of what this should be as an experience. Let it all go, but let it all just be here. It's just to relax so completely that you fall naturally into yourself. We're not creating any kind of experience. It's just a natural merging back into and out of the illusion. You're merging back into this deep and profound relaxation. And you can see through the illusion. You can see that there is no separation, right? Seeing through the illusion is confirming in your direct experience that what you are in truth is not separate from this vast, open, awake field. This is freedom. It's the confirmation that you are not the separate person, that you are not limited in any way. It's the confirmation in your heart that you are the presence of being, not the person. You can feel a wholeness in your heart, a wholeness in the felt sense of what you are. You see through the illusion. You know for sure there is no separation, right? It's unquestionable and undoubtable in the direct experience. But do not be looking for it in the mind. It will lead you astray like in a flash. If you're looking to confirm it in the mind, confirm it in the heart. Be yourself. You already are yourself. You're not waiting for something to happen. If you're waiting for something to happen in the mind's idea of experience, you'll be waiting for the rest of this lifetime and possibly many others. It is to come into the timeless, eternal knowing. Drink the nectar of your own immortality in the bliss of being yourself and be free from the cycle of karma. It's to say that you're free from the cycle of karma, but just to know that karma will still cycle in the divine play, but you are not bound by it. But it will still cycle and it will play in order to be refined. It will play in order to complete itself into wholeness. This is the glory. This is the grace, is that karmic cycling, it repeats until it completes, and it completes into wholeness. You have to know yourself in the glory of the vast perspective. You have to know yourself in truth as the vast, open, infinite ocean of grace. You have to know yourself as divine wholeness for karma to complete into wholeness. It has to refine into wholeness. And as it refines into wholeness, it has the possibility of completing itself, right? And this is why the play continues to play out on the surface of life until everything has collapsed. It's like those birds, lemmings, I think they're called, that go to the edge of the cliff, right? And they follow each other to fall off, right? All of the pieces of yourself surfacing, it's like lemmings, right? And they're just surrendering themselves. They're just jumping off, jumping off, jumping off. It's the same. We could say that's the moths flying towards the light, flying towards the light. But when you know this vast openness of the heart that you are, hear the freedom, hear the glory, hear the wholeness, hear the knowing of yourself. Starts as a sanctuary, as a refuge that you keep leaning into, feels like you glimpse it, you taste it, you're tasting yourself, you're glimpsing divine reality. You have to keep glimpsing and tasting, bushwhacking a path through the jungle of Maya. And as you bushwhack all these paths, suddenly all of these paths start to create clearings. You can rest more in the clearings, and then the clearings start to merge into clear fields, right? Every taste of your exquisite self is a drop of nectar that carries you deeper. Every taste of deep and utter relaxation carries you deeper into divine wholeness, the divine wholeness that you are. Every taste of yourself is a taste of God. Every taste of yourself is a taste of the glory. And as you taste yourself and deepen in, starting to recognize that this is all there is. And then the saying yes to whatever is happening on the surface, and allowing everything that seems to be separate or outside to merge into God, remembering, integrate through your divine lived experience. Right? Your lived experience is what brings it all home. Every moment of your lived experience. So let every moment of your lived experience be immersed, absorbed in the divine secret that you are merged into divine reality. You never need to leave yourself. Be ever merged in divine reality, ever merged in the glory. The character walking around on the surface of life looks exactly the same. But the secret is that you are a bag of light. And your job is just to shine and just to love. You are a bag of light. And as a bag of light, the love that you are, it is here without condition, right? It loves, it knows love, it just loves. And as you shine your light, that love is shining. It's an emanation of the incredible unconditioned love. And it plays on the surface of life as kindness, as compassion, as patience. As love that just loves, right? This is what we are here for. We are here to know love, to be love, and to love. But we can only fulfill this divine purpose when we know that we are the love. We are the love. You are the love that is longed for. And to relax so fully into who you have always been before everything, before birth, you were love. You have always been love. Taking a human birth, you are still love. Crazy story starts to play out on the surface of life, you are still love. Imagining that you are an individual with a name and a story, you are still love. You have never, ever been apart from love. Misunderstanding that love is missing, misunderstanding that love is scarce, you are still love. Underneath it all, you have always been love. Misunderstanding that love has been withdrawn, you are still love, right? You've been running like underneath the timeline, underneath the storyline, you've been running as love, right? Feeling rejected and abandoned, you are still love, right? The story, the mind is taking on these ideas. Love is missing, love has been withdrawn. I've been abandoned, I'm rejected, I'm not loved, I'm not lovable, right? Crystallizing of separation happening on the surface of life. Underneath it, you are still love. You are still love. Crystallizing of separation, story that love is missing playing out. Early relationships with friends confirming that, feeling the confirmation. I really am not lovable. I really am not good enough. Confirmation on the surface, underneath it, you are love. Grown up relationships starting to happen, love affairs, you feel rejected, you feel abandoned, you feel not seen, you feel not heard. Underneath it, you are love. Hearts broken, the sense of loss, whatever it is that's playing, you are still love, right? You go through the whole of life, the story's playing, the mind is imagining, and the repeats of karma are happening. Underneath it, you are still love. You have never left yourself. Fast forward into life as it is now, and the stories that can play of something missing, not enough, not lovable, being abandoned by God, separate from God, heartbroken, something missing, something wrong with me. All of the unkind thoughts, you see, a mind has been tangling up a story for however many years the life has played on the surface. Underneath it all, you are still love. You have always been love. You have always been the vast, awake and open being. You have never, ever left yourself. Whatever is playing, whatever has played, it is a misunderstanding, and it is to see through the misunderstanding, not by trying to solve it in the story, right? Can we see now a visual of a life, of a timeline, of a story, of a character involved in the story, and that underneath it, there's just love, and you are that love? Are you watching? Are you seeing the visual as the love, as the awareness that has never moved? Can you notice that? That where you're watching from, where you're receiving what is speaking from, is from the source. You can see the character, the timeline. You know that you're not that. Underneath it all, you have never changed. And there's a knowing in your heart of this. There's a knowing in your heart of the love that you are, the beauty that you are, where you can feel the oneness. That oneness has been animating the whole story, right? The power of the divine has created the whole illusion, created the whole appearance. It's all there is. What an incredible, incredible possibility that the divine can create this appearance, can appear as this appearance, and can fool herself. Right? You are her being fooled by her, right? You are God fooling God. You are God fooling God, right? There's nothing else happening. That's the Maya. It's the power of the illusion of the one to fool itself into believing that the appearance of diversity actually is diversity. The appearance of diversity is one, is the oneness in appearance. So as these words are coming, feel the resonance. Feel where you can feel the truth. It is not to understand the concepts. It is not to try to understand. Any sense of trying to understand will just pull you away. Just to be here. Just to be here. Feel the love that you are, the light that you are, that is the wide open heart, ever shining, ever bright, ever radiant, ever brilliant. Know yourself. Be yourself. Rest absorbed in yourself. Absorbed in the vast open field of the glory that you are. Know it now and now and now. Do not try to find this in time. It will feel elusive. Know it now. Know yourself now. Know yourself now. Know yourself now. Rest absorbed. Do not try to find yourself in time. Find yourself always here now. Be aware of the play of time, but do not leave the knowing of your timeless, eternal, immortal nature. Keep plugged in. Keep plugged in to the source of it all, where the knowing is free and clear and pure and innocent. Just this moment, just as it is. This moment, just as it is. We're not trying to get rid of anything. We're not trying to push anything away. This moment, in its fullness, in its richness. You know who you are. You know who you are.